What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be taking a deep look at the Jak Decimator kit for the Lachmann Shroud in Modern Warfare 3. This is an aftermarket part that was added last week with the launch of Season 4, and it kind of flew under the radar because unlike most aftermarket parts that are unlocked with weekly challenges, this one just had its own unique challenge added on the side, and at least for me, I didn't find out about this until I heard people talking online about it. But with this kit, it's the one that turns the Lachmann Shroud from a burst gun into a full auto gun. And I'm sure the first big question a lot of you guys ask is, what's the point of this? We already have the Lachmann Sub, which is the MP5 in full auto. Isn't that essentially what we're getting here with this part? Well, it turns out this is actually quite a bit different. Not only do you maintain that integrated suppressor, on top of this, we have very different stats compared to the Lachmann Sub in this game. And I will be bringing in a few comparisons with the Lachmann Sub so you can see just how different it is and honestly how much better it is than the Lachmann Sub. So let's start this off with our damage profile, and to the body at least, our damage isn't changed compared to the base Lachmann Shroud in Burst, and this means it's going to be a 4 to 7 shot kill anywhere in the body. We have no separate multipliers. However, when it comes to headshots, we actually deal a bit more damage to the head with this version of the gun compared to the Burst version of the gun. But in saying that, headshots are still generally not worth going for. Up close, they don't really do anything to help you at all. There's only those two damage ranges, the second damage range and fourth damage range, where headshots can help, but 3 of those shots have to hit them in the head, which isn't really viable, especially when we look at the recoil later. So generally speaking, just ignore that headshot multiplier, just aim for the body and get your really consistent kills. Also, it is worth noting, if you swap this over to semi-auto mode with the kit, just like with the base Lachmann Shroud, this will also very noticeably increase our damage, so we actually get a 3 to 4 shot kill, but it doesn't appear to change our fire rate or anything, so you'd effectively just be wasting an attachment on this aftermarket part. If you want to use the Lachmann Shroud in semi-auto, just stick to the base version of the gun and swap it over to semi, and you get that boosted damage anyway. Now, let's move on to our rate of fire value, which is 766 rounds per minute, and this is full auto now. And what this means for our time to kill potential is up close, we kill in 235 milliseconds with a 4-shot kill, which is a very fast time to kill in this game. Even for SMGs, this is going to be quite dominant in that maximum damage range, especially since you can hit them anywhere in the body. There's no 5-shot kill if you accidentally mix a leg shot in or something. You just have to hit your shots, and you get a very, very good time to kill up close. However, as you start stretching out your ranges, this is where the gun starts to fall apart a bit. Your time to kill value will increase all the way up to 470 milliseconds with a 7-shot kill. And speaking of ranges, let's have a look at our range chart here, and as you can see, we have the exact same damage range drop-off points as the base Lachmann Shroud. And what this means is our 4-shot kill range, our maximum damage range, is 12.8 meters, which isn't too bad for an SMG. That's not terrible. It's not the best out there, but it's far from the worst. And then our 5-shot kill will extend out to about 25 meters, and beyond that, this is where the gun really starts to fall apart. So I would highly recommend at least ensuring that you're staying within that 25 meters, although ideally, you do want to stay within 12.8 meters if you want to take full advantage of this gun. Now, another thing to point out with this kit is it does boost our bullet velocity quite drastically up to 421 meters per second, which is excellent. And now let's just quickly throw in the Lachmann Sub here so you guys can see just how different this Jak Decimator kit is. While the Lachmann Sub does get a slightly faster fire rate at 800 rounds per minute, it doesn't get a 4-shot kill potential up close, and as a result, it kills very noticeably slower up close than the Jak Decimator kit does. So outside of the general look and animations, the Jak Decimator kit is very different from the Lachmann Sub. After that, let's have a quick look at hardcore game modes, and as you can see here, it's obviously the same as the Lachmann Shroud. We get a 1-shot kill anywhere in the body out to about 25 meters. I will say you're probably better off using this kit than the base Lachmann Shroud if you do insist on using this in hardcore game modes, but it's not like it's going to be a real big standout in hardcore. Next, let's have a look at our recoil, and with this Jak Decimator kit, you can see initially it kicks upward with a bit of a lean to the right, and then it tends to curve a little bit back toward the center line, all while having a little bit of side-to-side bounce mixed in there. And while obviously this is going to be far less accurate than the base Lachmann Shroud, since that's a burst gun and it recenters between every 3 shots at fire, I wouldn't say this is incredibly inaccurate for an SMG. It's totally fine to control this, at least within the effective ranges of the gun anyway. Obviously, you don't want to be challenging people across the map with it. And then, just in case you guys were curious, here is the recoil plot with the Lachmann Sub, which I would say the Lachmann Sub is definitely more accurate and a little easier to control compared to this Jak Decimator kit, but not by a significant margin. After that, let's talk about our handling stats, and it turns out none of these stats are actually different from the base Lachmann Shroud, but I wanted to talk about it anyway since our aim down sight speed is quite slow for an SMG at 259 milliseconds, and while our sprint to fire time is pretty standard for a Modern Warfare 2 SMG at least, our reload add time is very slow for an SMG at 1.9 seconds. So just a few things to consider if you're using the Lachmann Shroud, whether that's with or without the kit. And then finally for our stats, let's have a look at our movement speeds. And when it comes to our base movement speed and our sprint speed, these are the same as the base Lockman Shroud. They don't change at all, and they're actually below average for SMGs, so not great. However, we do get a pretty crazy boost to our aim walking speed up to 3.9 meters per second. This is very fast, even for an SMG in this game. It's actually faster than any of the base SMGs in the game currently, so that's a big upside to using this kit as well. You can strafe by default very quickly. And with that, that's going to lead us to my favorite attachment combination to use with the Jak Decimator kit. Unfortunately, in today's video, I'm only going to be sharing one build, and the simple reason behind this is we're very limited in our attachment selection, and then on top of this, this is a Modern Warfare 2 gun, so the barrel attachments and the stock attachments are laughably bad and just straight up make the gun worse, so there's no point in ever putting a barrel or stock on this gun, since we're dealing with Infinity Ward balancing for those attachments. Then on top of that, our muzzle attachment is blocked off, although we do have the integrated suppressor by default, so it's nice. We essentially get a free suppressor built in there. And then finally, the rear grip is also completely blocked off, and that leaves us very limited in what we can do with this. So what I ended up coming out with for my preferred build with this kit is the SL Skeletal Vertical Underbarrel to help a bit with handling as well as our recoil control slightly. We've got the 1 milliwatt quickfire laser to improve that aim down sight speed a little bit without being a visible laser. I did look into some of the visible lasers as well and considered using them, but I noticed the improvements you get with the visible lasers are pretty negligible compared to the improvements you get with the non-visible quickfire laser. On top of this, we also have the Jak Glassless Optic to help a little bit with firing aim stability, so that does improve our recoil slightly. And then finally, I just threw on the armor-piercing ammunition here, largely because I didn't know where else to spend that attachment slot. I considered putting the 40-round mag on this, but then our handling stats start to get to the point where it's not really competitive with the other SMGs, and it's more along the lines of like a long-range assault rifle build, and we don't want that with a gun that excels up close. So armor-piercing rounds just seemed like the next best thing. And with this particular setup, you can see we slightly improved our recoil control. It's not amazing, it's not super accurate, but it doesn't need to be. This gun is really designed to be used in close to mid ranges, and with that in mind, this recoil is perfectly fine to handle those situations. Our aim down sight speed is still a bit on the slow side for an SMG, but it's about as good as you can reasonably get without having a tiny magazine at least at 241 milliseconds. Our sprint out time is slightly improved over the base at 105 milliseconds. Our bullet velocity is boosted nicely with that kit up to 421 meters per second. And our aim walking speed is also excellent while using this kit at 3.90 meters per second. And when you top off the fact that we're staying off the radar when firing, this actually turns out to be quite a nice setup. I've definitely been having some fun and success with this so far. I think it's super underrated at this point, although I also think not very many people know about this kit at this point. So if you guys haven't given this one a shot yet, I would definitely encourage you to complete the challenge to unlock this and give this class setup a shot. I think you'll be very impressed with the results. And with that, that is finally going to wrap it up today's breakdown on the Jak Decimator kit for the Lockman Shroud. And of course, this is where I'm curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about this kit so far? Do you guys really like this SMG or not so much? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.